everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Tuesday 10 here at Studioloo. If you are new here, you can check the description box for what Tuesday 10 is all about. But essentially, we've pulled 10 things out of my never-ending paper basket of things, and we need to keep working until we use them all up. So what do I have today? This is apparently a page from like a children's encyclopedia from probably the 80s, 70s. And I guess I kept it for these flamingos. And then I have this page. I think this is from Journey of Crafting, if I can remember. It's a digital page that's been hanging around for a while. I've clearly used some of these and not all of them. They're like the Victorian greetings hands. These are some symbols, a symbols index from, this is like from a doll book. And these are some of the symbols that get put on dolls to recognize them. This is a scrap of paper and a vellum that had buttons on it. I don't know. This is a scrap printout of one of my digital collections that I have on Etsy. It's my art studio collection, all done in watercolors. Wow, I don't know. I forget who this is from. But it's Lily of the Valley. It's some like art nouveau kind of stuff. A children's book page with this cute little elfie person. Another children's book page. This is Rapunzel. And a collage board. And this is like from an art book, I think. So this is from Bye Bye Birdie and The Telephone Hour. I love all these girls. So it's like a big Broadway book, as I recall. So we have quite a mishmash of things. I'm a little overwhelmed. Okay, it's okay. We're going to be fine. So first thing I need to work on, I am working on a journal that you'll see soon probably. It is going to be a storybook journal, and it's got a lot of sun and moon kind of themes in it, and those kind of things. So I need pockets for it. So why don't I just kind of be useful here, and we'll create some pockets for that, and I'll pull out some of the fussy cut bits that I need for that journal. I think I will cut in thirds maybe. And then we'll have 1, 2, 3 pockets. 4, 5, 6, and then this will become 2 more for 8. Okay, so those will be 8 pockets. And then while I've got the cutter out, let's do the rest of the cutting to get these things into shapes that I want to use, maybe. Don't think I want to use these things a whole lot. These people are all kind of eating and drinking and making weird faces. This, however, is pretty cute. And I think I'll make it into like some tags, and there we go. That'll be good. Over here, we'll shave this shabby edge off of here. I think we'll get the little old lady out, and we'll just make it this. What we'll work with. I will just cut the top off. We'll decide what we want to do with that. This we'll figure out. These we'll figure out. I think that's all the cutting I really need to do. Maybe I'll just cut. Actually, no, I'll leave that too. Okay. Okay, so all the things. Let's start maybe with these 3 tags. even though I thought I was going to start with the pockets, we're not going to. So let me grab this envelope, and we'll back these onto this envelope paper. So tell me how you're doing. What are you working on? I'd love to know. Leave me a comment. Tell me what creative things you're up to. I decided to start a couple things. So I finished up the crow journals. Those are heading out on their way to their new homes tomorrow, or actually yesterday when you see this. I'm filming this on Sunday, but you'll see it on Tuesday. They're shipping on Monday. And I got started on a new storybook journal, and it's going to be a really fun one. It's called The Nightgown of the Sullen Moon, which is a weird name, right? But it's going to be really cool. It's a really nice story. I should have probably glued in here, but that's okay. What I think I'll do is we'll cut this here, because I want to keep the two pieces of envelope together. So if I do this, they'll all stay attached. But I do want to stitch around these, so I'm just going to clip the top here. Anyway, so yeah, The Nightgown of the Sullen Moon. I'm putting together the signature papers for it right now, and I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let me just glue stick up here. And then I also, so I'm often very into watching Roxy's Creations by Sarah and Roxy's Creations, which is Rachel. They're sisters, they're lovely sisters. And they're doing a lot of stitching projects, like Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, which if you've been around for a while, you know I took part in that some time ago. And now they're doing like little kind of projects. So one of the things that they're making right now is a huswif, or a needle roll, a sewing needle roll. So like I definitely was like, oh, I gotta do one of those. Those are so nice. And I've been wanting, like I always want to do her projects. I just don't always have the time. I did want to keep going with the Journal of Stitchery, but I fell off of it with the first year, like volume 2, I guess, the winter one, because like I couldn't keep up at that time of year with the kids and everything. And then also I find it hard to keep up when the only way to keep track of the prompts is through the videos. Like I wish there was like a, you know, like an image that had all of the themes on it, or a list or something somewhere that would really help me. But I know that's like extra work, and not everybody wants to run their challenge that way. So nothing at all against Rachel and Sarah. I'm not saying how they should do things at all. Just for me, it would make my life a lot easier. I just tend to keep up with things like that's, I guess I can keep up with Anne Brooke somehow, like with the 52 flags, but I don't know if that's just because it's one channel and not two. But yeah, maybe it's just because I already do that, I can't do another thing. But I've decided it doesn't matter. I don't need to keep up because I know what the project is. And I'm not necessarily going to follow exactly like her way of doing it or anything, because I think that's pretty on brand for Roxy's Creations, is they want you to just kind of like take on the challenge with them and then do your own version. You know, like they're very cool like that and open-minded. Sorry, hydration. Okay. I need words for these, and oh, you know what? I think I've got Tim Holtz words. And there could be some good ones in here. Some of these are like, kind of general, and then one is snarky, and it has some things in it. Well, this one's kind of cool. Cast of characters. Maybe we could use that one on here. It's a little crooked. I could probably fix that. I'm new here today. Sorry, guys. All right, there we go. Is there another one? It's interesting. This one just says Maurice. Oh, here we go. You just hold on. He's saying he's on the phone. They're all on the phone, actually. Okay, let's use a few of these to tell the world, because they're all on the phone. Let's look for things that kind of go with that. A lot of these honestly really could just be sort of a snippet in a conversation. So like wishing him good night can go here. The secret of everyday things in general, I think, can just go in the middle here. Personal considerations aside, maybe here. Their fondness for each other can go here. So it's kind of like conversation bubbles. He couldn't remember. Put that with him. With all my heart, maybe with her. As a matter of fact, it's got 3 there, 3 there, 2 here. He needs something. He looks kind of like he's saying something like an announcement. Maybe his eyes were bright. Yeah, so it's like kind of like maybe snippets of their conversations, you know? It was his handsome face. Let's put that here. Okay, so I think that's good. So these I'm going to stitch and trim around, but let's just set them aside for now because like they're kind of ready to go. So we'll put these words back over here. We don't need them right now. Now let's deal with this little one because I think I just kind of want to make like a simple little journal card with it because it's so cute, and it'll probably go in like my stash for like gnome or, you know, magic kind of journals where it would be an appropriate piece of ephemera. So let me tell you about my week. It was March break, so my daughter was off from school, and we made the most of it. We had a lot of fun. We did a lot of outdoor time, like lots of nature walks. We went to one of our favorite cities to do some thrifting and wandering and I took her to this museum called the Cabinet of Curiosities. I took her to the Ontario Science Centre. We went to a maple festival yesterday, which was a whole lot of fun. And we had really yummy pancakes and maple syrup, and I got a couple bottles of very dark syrup, which is my favorite. It's like the darkest of the syrups. I know a lot of people like the grade A stuff, but I am the very dark syrup girl. Probably because I come from a place where there's a lot of syrup farms, and I just grew up with that being the one that, like, because you used to not really be able to commercially sell the very dark, because it's kind of like the remnant syrup. It's not high grade. Like, it's like the best grade syrup is actually kind of the medium amber, which is the grade A. I guess for clarity, and the very dark is doesn't have that amount of clarity. You know how people kind of, there's sort of like a way to do things, and then there's like the snobbish standard. So, you know, grade A is that snobbish standard. But I like the very dark. So I got a couple of those. We had pancakes. I think I said that. They were really good. Oh yeah, let's use this lovely bit. This vellum is popping off though. I think this was a collage, like a little collage-y board that I made probably back when I was making like my very first journals. I'm not kidding. This has been hanging around for a while, this piece of paper, because I think I was using it when I was making like Sesame Street journals, which were also kind of morphed into like nature journals, because I was just making like truly junk journals at the time with whatever I had, not realizing there was a whole world of themes and things that I could kind of grow my art with. And yeah, so it's different now. And the kids yesterday had a blast playing all these games. So they had great big versions of lots of games made out of wood, like Battleship and X's and O's. And there was this one called the Syrup Line, and you had to kind of work together with these pulley systems to like bring this bucket up to the top. And then yeah, there was a blacksmith on site. And lots of educators, some of which were Indigenous educators, which was really nice. I feel like it's so nice to see things like community maple syrup festivals now be led by Indigenous education. They had a sweat lodge, and they talked about, you know, the practice of their spirituality with the sweat lodges, and how, you know, they build the fire to warm the rocks that they bring from Lake Erie, that, you know, they call them the grandmothers, and they heat the rocks and they bring them into the lodge, and they bring the elders into the lodge, and like they talked all about the spirituality of all of that. And one of the women there, who was a coordinator for like, you know, spiritual kind of healing and stuff, by trade she's a nurse, and she talked about how, you know, it's nice for her in the practice of healthcare, where she typically can help people with, you know, physical and mental maladies in the community. She can also now assist with things in the spiritual realm of the belief system of, you know, her Indigenous tribe. So that was nice to hear. It's nice to feel like these kind of community events are more than just like a time to celebrate like the products that we get from the earth, like the maple syrup, or like even, you know, the community gathering, because it's not a complete community without like, you know, recognizing the first people who were on this land, and that, you know, we've settled here as a result of many things, some good, some bad, and that all of that matters, right? Like, so it was kind of nice to do that. So I will stitch around this. I'm just going to back it. I'm not going to trim it. I like to trim after I stitch. That's become a thing now that I like doing. It seems faster to me. Now, okay, we need to sort what we're going to do here. So we have these, They might be good friends. They might pair up well. This little flamingo, let's cut this out. a little idea for that. I might make a cluster with it. I don't think I need that. This I think I'll use for a background. This I struggle with because I don't have a project that I need it for right now. And it's also printed on thin paper. So I feel like I either need to use it as background or backing. And yes, you heard me correctly. I said backing, which means you won't see the image at all. And that's really just a part and parcel of like literally let's use this stuff up, whether we're going to use it in a way that makes, you know, sense or not. I mean, it all makes sense. I need to use these things up. I've got too much stuff. Too much stuff. So let's get a little scraplet here of pink fabric from this little dress that was once my daughter's. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is glue the back of this as so. We're going to glue this right onto this fabric. Not with a heavy duty glue, just with this glue stick. Just pull it over a little. It can be a little wrinkly, that's fine. We're going to make a cluster with it. I'm going to tear this. Yep, that's good. Then let's cut that into two. And those will go like that. And they'll get backed behind there, so it'll be a cluster that looks like that, and we'll stitch it. Now get rid of this gluey page. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can use this for backing for one of the tags I'm working on for the journal that I'm working on. And I might do the same with these, because you know something? It was so nice to have the work that I did, like in Tuesday 10 last week. It made ephemera for the crow journals, and that was so rewarding. I really feel like, yeah, that's good when you've got like an immediate use for what I make. Not that I don't use everything, because I do, for sure. It all goes into something fun. A lot of the time when I make things, sometimes I can make just like one thing during Tuesday 10, and it will inspire like a whole journal. So it's a good thing. Okay. Yeah, so we use those as backgrounds for tags, I think. Now these, I think I will, we'll cut them out. And I think what I'd like to do with them is make booklets with my scraps. Because my scraps, let me tell you, okay, that one. This one I might use in a project for the journal that I'm working on. That's yet to be seen. It's got to work with something I have here. So that one there. So I also got some maple sugar candy for the kids. They had a scavenger hunt, so when you finished all the different stations, there were 10 in total, you would stamp this card and you would bring it to the shop, and you could either get a little maple sugar candy or you could get a sticker. Needless to say, the kids went for the candies. I can't imagine that they would have handed out very many stickers yesterday. My recycle bin is full. Okay, so these we've got cut out. This we're on the fence about what to do with. I think it's going to become backing. Don't cry. It's my own digital, so I've got as many of them as I need ever. And I need some water. The ongoing thirst of having had a cold and still recovering. We're getting there though. Okay, so I need to get my supplies for my journal. I'm just gonna pull them over here for a sec because yeah, there's so much going on in this basket. These are all the supplies for this journal, and I did print out a bunch of things that I need to fussy cut for it. And some of them I think I can use for this, maybe. These lovely Release the Craftin' things. Lots of those are going to go in that journal because they're beautiful. These kids need to get cut out. I might cut one of... Oh, I want those ones. I think these ones today. Yep. And I think that's all I need for now. Just those 2 pages. So, first things first, and that is the symbols. So I think I need a little girl for this, and I'm going to use this brunette girl. This is a page from Miles Beyond the Moon, one of her digital art doll kits. And I'm just going to sort of cut with a little bit of a line around here. Okay. So she'll go on here, probably like that. Then I need a moon or something, or a sun. I think this sun with its eyes rolling. So this is from It Capilli Imaginarium on Etsy. It is the Suns and Moons collage sheet. Both of these are frequent flyers here on my channel. I quite enjoy their work. Obviously, so is Release the Craftin' and the Junk Journal Studio, who I participate on their design teams, and yeah, you'll see lots of these people on my channel because, yeah, I either just super love their work, or I both love their work and I'm on their design team. And so we'll cut this one out in the same kind of manner, just cutting around. And I like this sun because it's kind of like it's rolling its eyes. So this storybook journal that I'm making is kind of a story about a moon, the moon, and the moon becomes like unhappy with, you know, the day-to-day rigors of being the moon, just like shining at night, like, you know, it gets bored. And one day it spots this beautiful starry nightgown hanging on a laundry line, and it decides it wants one for itself so that it can wear this nightgown and go exploring and do its own thing, like change up its life. So the moon has a conversation with the sun, and the sun isn't really convinced that this is a great idea, that this is like the best plan. And he said, you know, well, you know, how do you plan to get a nightgown like this? And she said, I'm going to go right to where they go to get it. So I'm going to go to a clothing store and I'm going to find myself a nightgown. And, you know, they go back and forth about the idea. He doesn't really support it. And he asks the moon, like, what do you really want, you know, like with life? And, you know, they have this existential conversation kind of. And so off she heads to like this clothing store and finds the same nightgown that she saw hanging on the line that belonged to the little girl. And so she goes off into this adventure around the universe. But basically the moon goes away, and it makes the whole world very sad because the moon's such an important part of everyone's life, you know. So then she starts to notice that the world is sad that she's not there, and she goes back to the sun, and the sun tells her, you know, hey, look, you know, what the world wants is my shining bright face during the day and your cool blue face at night. And, you know, I think you should think about that. So she does, and she sadly has to give up her nightgown and her adventures and, you know, get back to being the moon. But then every now and then when the moon is not in the sky, she heads back to the little girl's house who had the original nightgown, and she curls up in bed with her for a while to just experience what it is to have something a little different in life. So it's quite a cute story. It's got beautiful illustrations. I'll try to do a video maybe with it. But I know for you Tuesday 10 folks out there, you would kick my butt if we didn't have a video this week. Trying to remember, there's like this cartoon, like a kid's cartoon. I can't remember what it was, which one it was, but it's like it sticks in my head, and I can't remember if it's like Arthur, maybe, I don't know, but it's like there's this cartoon, and like they talk about how this one kid keeps telling the other kids, no, it's SpongeBob. So, yeah, so this bully comes to SpongeBob's school, and he's this great big fish, and he keeps telling SpongeBob he's gonna kick his butt. And he's in like boating school. So for those of you who watch SpongeBob like I do, because I'm a SpongeBob fanatic, yeah, it's really, really funny. And he's a really, I think his name is like Blass or something. So he's kind of like a manipulative big fish, and the teacher, Mrs. Puff, who's a big puffer fish, she believes his nonsense, that like he's the innocent one in the picture, and that, you know, SpongeBob's actually the one being the bully. And it's not true, though. It's a lie, right? Because we all know SpongeBob, he's a great guy. So yeah, so then finally she catches like the big fish one day actually being threatening to SpongeBob, or SpongeBob does something, and then Mrs. Puff, the teacher, she's like, I'm going to kick your butt. And then it's like this funny thing, because, you know, she's a teacher, she shouldn't be saying that to a student. There's just something so weird about how they keep saying they're going to kick each other's butt. But such a funny word. My daughter, she's gone through these phases with it, where like we don't really give power to swear words in our house. Like I kind of have a policy about things that don't matter, like swearing, not overreacting to them, because they don't really matter. You're giving way too much power to words when you let something like that become so important. Then it becomes something that's like essentially taboo, right? So they're going to want to do it or say it, and I feel like that's not helpful sometimes. I want this to be held by this hand, I think. Yeah. Because then kids will want to do what's taboo, right? So I just tell my daughter, and she listens. My kids don't like curse or anything. But she knows that she can talk to me when she hears cursing and like not get in trouble, you know, for doing so. Because she tells me when kids at school swear a lot. And there's this one kid at the bus stop who he's got, I don't know, he was raised by pirates, I think. I'm not sure. But he's in grade 5, and he's really pushing his luck with language these days. And I haven't spoken to him yet, but it was kind of getting to that point where I was going to say to him, like, just essentially because the little kids will pick this up. And like, I'm trying to think of the right words to say to him. You know, that I like him, my kids like him, we think you're a great kid, but you might want to think about this, right? Like, you might want to consider how your language misrepresents you, you know, to all these, honestly, there are a lot of elders, a lot of grandparents that are standing around. I'm going to cut this out. This is noctivagant or noctivagant adjective for walking or wandering in the nighttime. I want to put that on there. The lovely Priscilla and her beautiful words. Oh, she's so good at making these word sheets. They're so nice. But yeah, I was going to talk to the kid, and then I didn't bother, because I always worry about making kids have anxiety or something. But yeah, my daughter, like, she would hear the word but, because that's never been a swear word in our house. It just wasn't for me. Like, I didn't grow up with that being a swear word. So it's like a comfortable word to, you know, talk about, you know, your anatomy or joke about it, whatever. And then when she went to school, I think it is a swear word at school, or possibly to certain teachers, I don't know. So she all of a sudden started policing me if I ever said it. And I was like, what is going on? How is this role reversal happening? And she's like, Mom, you know, that's a curse word. I said, well, is it? You know, because I think that if you think it is, you know, it's really dependent on the party who's using it, you know, like to decide if it is or it isn't, right? So just because one person says it's a swear word doesn't mean another one will. But who told you it's a swear word? Is that something that your teacher told you, or is it another kid at school, or have you said it at school and gotten in trouble? Because clearly that's important to me. Like, if it's something the school doesn't want them doing, then I'll try to curb my my obvious pirate cursing. So she's like, oh no, this girl at school told me. And I said, well, you know, you can tell her that maybe that's how her family operates, but that's not how your family operates. It's not a swear word in our house. So, you know, you can always feel comfortable saying that. It's not a big deal. But yeah, it's kind of a funny thing navigating, like, children and all their different, like, things that they bring home to talk to you about. Like, we're talking about this. So there's this, in my opinion, awful game out there. So a lot of kids play these games like Minecraft and Roblox. I allow my daughter to play Minecraft offline, so there's no chatting. And Roblox she's not allowed to play because it's been shown to be a very poorly managed game by people who allegedly aren't that great. I've read too many bad things to be comfortable with that game. So we don't do that. I know there are school programs and things like that make use of it, alternative school programs for sure. And I think there's a lot of other things like robot building stuff that you don't necessarily need to use Roblox to teach those things. Even coding, there's a lot of other alternatives. So that being said, I'm not a fan. And she knows that, so she doesn't really test the waters there. But there's these other games that kids hear about from school, and my daughter has heard about them. And the thing about these kind of things, so one of them is called Poppy's Playtime. So when you hear something like that, you think, oh, that sounds like a kid's show, right? So it isn't. It's a game, and it's on the Steam app, and it's a computer game. And essentially, it's one of those things that it's got a face that would appeal to children, but it's clearly made for, 13 and up, I would say. I think that's what it's rated for. So it's like a bunch of toys, basically, but they're like evil toys that kill. And so she has a close friend in her class, and he's allowed to play this game, and he talks to her about it. And she has seen, thanks to YouTube, some like previews, like, thumbnail screens, because, the algorithms are always listening from everything, our phones, our devices, right? So, she's asked me lots of questions about it, and I know it's one of these weird, like, things that she's curious about. So I spent a little bit of time like watching a playthrough of it, and it looks honestly pretty not the most intellectual thing I've ever seen. I'll say it that way. I see why little kids like it, but there's this whole kind of problematic population of mostly young men who are into gaming, some of which are professional, like, streamers of games on Twitch and other platforms. And, they get into making videos of these games with their atrocious language and their adult, conversations, and then they get published to YouTube, and then they get recommended to kids, and they get into all the wrong algorithms, and it's just a total pain. And so, my daughter hasn't really seen much of this game, but she talks to me about it, and she says, oh, well, my friend, he plays it. He also plays this other game that she's explained to me that has all these jump scares, and I won't even mention the name because it's not important, but we're talking about this. And so I said to her, so I want to talk to you about this game, because I never want to make things taboo, because what that does is it just literally makes kids want it more. And so I try to be reasonable, but I also have to have some boundaries, because I obviously can't just have her watching like Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the age of 7. So my boundaries are that I don't want her, communicating with people online. I don't want her playing things that communicate online at this age. She does not have a cell phone. She's a kid, and I want her to be a kid. So I said to her, she had mentioned to me that this same friend was telling her, because we were talking about the idea of like growing up and like the different things that she'll experience, like different schools that she might go to, because she was asking us what school we went to as kids, and I told her like I went to the same elementary school from kindergarten through to grade 8, and then I went on to a high school, and I went from grade 9 until my OAC year, which was like grade 13, and that her dad, because his dad was in the military, he went to many different schools in many different states because his family had to move around a lot. They moved both like around the United States and for a time a couple other countries. And so, we talked about school and how that works, because she said, my friend, this same friend, he's very scared. He never wants to leave our school. And I said, what do you mean? Like when you get to your, the last grade at your school, that he doesn't want to have to go to the next school? She's like, no, he never wants to leave the school. Like when we're at school, he doesn't even want to go to gym because he's worried that we're going to leave the school. And I said, what, like he doesn't like to go off school property? Because sometimes they go for neighborhood walks, or they go to a nearby park to use the equipment, or, just these little things that kids do. And she said, yeah, he doesn't want to leave the school. He's scared. He never wants to leave our school. So that was actually quite a winning moment for me, because I was able to use that conversation to talk about anxiety. So some of what I read online about this game is that a lot of younger children are being exposed to it, and it's not like really, they say 10 years old's probably okay, but it is kind of more recommended for 13 and up. And I mean, I recommend it to literally no one, because I feel like it has zero value at all. But that's just me being a curmudgeon, and get off my lawn. And so, I said, like, let me explain some things to you that I read this week about this game and about anxiety in children, because she knows what anxiety is. So she's like, okay. So, we sat in bed and we talked about this, and I said, sometimes when you fill your brain with these kind of things that are like scary, or even not even like necessarily scary to you, but like they elicit negative feelings, kind of like they make you feel like in a game, for instance, if you're being chased for no reason, and with the intention that something is trying to kill you or hurt you for no reason, it's irrational, right? So it will put in children who don't have fully formed brains, not until 25 do we have those. Even some adults, I think, are affected this way, with the people who are very obsessed with things like horror films, true crime. I'm not saying that, I'm not like doing the whole reefer madness thing where like, oh, horror movies are why people are murdered. No, that's not true either. But what I'm saying is, like, it's a balance, especially for children. So they talked in this article I was reading, it was like a child psychology article, about how it may be okay for some children to play this game, and if they don't feel scared, and they don't really feel like threatened in any way by it, then it's probably fine. But at the same time, you know, it could be doing things to them that they don't even necessarily know. And so when you're being chased by something with the intention that it's going to kill you, or you're trying to escape from it, that causes irrational fear and anxiety. So I was telling her, like, do you think it's a sensible fear to never want to leave the school? You know, because to me, that seems like that's affecting his life in some way, right? So, I mean, it's kind of hard, because I think this kid seems like he's able to just play whatever he wants and no one's really paying attention. At least that's what it seems like from my outside view, right? I'm just looking for the right words here. How they are abounding with stars. A love of night or darkness, the state of relaxation and wonderment experienced while gazing upon the stars. To the moon and back, sparkling or gleaming. Actually, I'm going to go with this luminaries one. Sorry, that took me a minute. Yeah, so when I talked to her in that way about it, she seemed to really get it, because she had like a behavior exhibited by a friend that she could compare to, you know, what was going on at the time. So then she asked me, she's like, well, why do they let him play it then if, you know, it's causing these things? And I said, well, they might not know, you know, because sometimes families are really busy. Maybe he has a lot of siblings. Maybe his parents work a lot. You never know what someone else is dealing with, right? So they may not be completely plugged in to what's going on. And, you know, maybe you should just, like, when you see him say these things, you should say to him how you feel about it. Like, you know, you could say when he's talking about being scared to leave school, like, maybe you could ask him, like, why do you feel that way? Like, you know, what's making you feel like that? You know, like, don't tell him he's wrong or anything, but just kind of give him a place to, like, listen to whatever he's experiencing, you know? So I think she's probably going to try to do that. I mean, I can't control what she'll say to him about the game or anxiety, but I still need her to know that. Like, I don't think it would necessarily be a bad thing if she did say to him, like, I think maybe all these games you play make you feel anxiety or fear about school for no reason, you know? Like, it's not my place to push her to say that, and I'm not saying she should or shouldn't, but, like, I think those things will kind of happen naturally. But I was also reading in the same article, like, how are kids getting exposed to this? And, like, they're like, school, you know, and also, like, YouTube, and those are kind of a couple of the major ones, but there's several other places. But, like, I don't know. There's not much conscience in some things, you know. Like, I remember when I went to the US last time I did, we were in like a Marshall store or something. I forget. My mother-in-law needed something. Oh no, it was a Gabe's store. She needed something, so we ran into this Gabe's, and they have those annoying, like, conduits that they usher everybody into to be able to get to the cash register. It's like this giant freestyle of, like, impulse items, which, by the way, are so annoying when you have kids, because, like, kids, they want everything, right? So you have to be like, no, you know, a million more times as you're leaving the store. So as we were going out the line, I remember my daughter saying to me, like, oh, like, can I have some of these candy? I mean, I was already going to say no, because first of all, their grandparents always give them a ton of candy and they don't need more. So I already had, you know, cocked my no button. It was ready to go. And so then I look at the packaging, and they were literally CBD gummies. And I mean, like, I don't understand how they're just there in the aisle for children to be able to pick up. Like, we have legalized, marijuana and many other things here in Canada, which is fine. But, like, there's rules. Like, they have to be sold only in certain stores, and they can't have packaging that appeals to children. Like, there's all these Canadian government kind of rules, and I don't know if it's widely followed, because admittedly I don't really buy all that kind of stuff, but it kind of got to me. I was like, what is going on? Ugh. And I don't know if, like, I know some states have legalized it and others haven't, and I have no issue with it being legalized, definitely decriminalized, but also legalized is fine, especially for medicinal purposes. But yeah, it certainly shouldn't be so widely available to kids, because I think that a lot of times we expect that parents are going to be 100% checked in on things. And I'll be honest, that's just not the case. I mean, I do the best I can, but I can tell you from my personal experience, I am a really, really checked in parent, because I was a homeschooler, and, like, when everything is your job, everything's your job. You always got to be on. And going to playgrounds and places like that, I can't tell you the number of times where I'm the only parent really paying any attention to the kids at all. Like, and this happens to me not sometimes, but almost every time I go to the playgrounds. And like this March break as an example, there's a really big playground in a town that I would say is very full of crunchy parents. Like, it's just one of those places, like, if you know kind of thing. And so there's this big play structure that's a climbing structure, and it's got some unique things on it. So, like, it's for kids who want to do, like, parkour kind of, right? So the structure itself, it's got these great big wooden poles that have, like, rock climbing pegs on them, and then it's got these poles where they have to put either their arms or their legs on, like, each of these two poles, and it's almost like a slide of two poles, but no slide in the middle, so they either have to wrap their arms over it or their legs. And so that's sort of the most dangerous part, because it's up high in the sky, like, or in the air. The sky, what am I saying? I'm being a little drawn into the moons and suns here. So my daughter was figuring it out, and there was this cute little boy who was teaching her, like, all his strategies. He was so smart, talking about, like, strategy. It was really, really cute to see this kid just be so intelligent. So while I was there, like, there's maybe me and a couple other parents hanging around, but there was probably 25 kids on this structure, and the rest, a lot of parents were sort of having a coffee and chatting with other parents, or they were on their phones, the typical kind of thing that most adults do these days, and, like, or they were just, reading a book, sitting down, walking a dog, dealing with other kids, just life, right? But, like, twice, so one time a kid got stuck at the very top and he couldn't get down, and he was crying and panicking, and his parents were nowhere around. So I had to talk to him to say, would you like me to help you get down? Like, can I, put my arm up and you can step on my shoulder, and then I will hold your hand and bring you down to the ground? Because, like, he's literally 7 feet in the air, 6-7 feet in the air. So I had to communicate, because I didn't want to, like, touch him in any way that would make him uncomfortable. It's not my child. And so he was like, yes, so I got him down. And then, like, 10 minutes later, my daughter was on the other side climbing up the structure, and all of a sudden this little girl who was also climbing up, like, she took a step funny and fell backward, and thank the freaking, like, stars and moons, the way she fell, her shoe wedged in between these two wooden structures. Like, her shoe was, like, right here, and the wooden structure held her leg. So I'm sure it didn't feel good. It probably hurt her ankle, but it stopped her from hitting the ground, because she went head first and she was hanging upside down. That kid would have hit her head on the ground, and I am so glad that didn't happen. She was probably 7 or 8, and so I rushed over to her. I said, just hold on, I'm coming, I'm going to help you get down. And, you know, she was very scared and shaken. And so I had to lift her whole body up and get her shoe unwedged, you know, carefully without hurting her from between these two things. And like, that's just examples of like physical stuff. Like, the stuff I witness on playgrounds all the time, like the kind of conversations that I often hear, especially if teenagers are around. I don't know how many times I've yanked my kids off a playground that teenagers were hanging out at because they act like they've just got no clue whatsoever. And, you know, they've just got no chill, these kids sometimes. And they'll just talk about things like, whoa, and their language just, you know, there's that whole age, right, between like, I mean, it's getting a little younger these days, I gotta say, but I know from 12 to 18, maybe, kids are just like, swearing is the greatest thing I've ever heard of. I'm gonna do it all the time. I don't know, but yeah, I don't enjoy it. That's why I told my husband a few years ago, like, I hate playgrounds. And I seriously think I do. Like, I really don't think I like them. But I just lie to myself and keep going. Because that's what you got to do when your kids want to play at the playground. I probably sound like a total curmudgeon, but it is what it is. Let me get something different for this pocket. I have a couple things. So I've got, I don't know that I want to use those. No, I don't. I want to use these maybe. So these are from Luna Girl. These are moons from lunagirl.com. She's also on Etsy. I think I'll do a couple of those moon faces, maybe 3. We'll do 3 moon face pockets. Because I'm going to need pockets. And I really love using these little collage boards. They make really nice pockets. So tell me, you know, how are things on playgrounds for you with your kids? Did I do that weird? Yeah, I kind of did. I'm going to do this off the side of it. There. Do you experience the same things that I do, or have you? Or do I have a unique situation going on? Hopefully not. I need a label. What's this one? Nope, not that one. Here we go. Field label, that'd be fun. A little Tim Holtz field label. Okay, good. This one. Go with the blue moon. Okay. And I like a little label on there again. I'm going to grab 2 more this time, at least. 1 and 2. That's good. Then we'll cut this one out. I've also found in my studio, so I was thinking about, this is going to be a task, so like don't hold me to this, but Sorry, my battery died. I think at a time where it was like, no, don't commit to this thing you're about to say. So I'm thinking about cleaning up and reorganizing my fabric stash, which is down one of the hallways in my studio. I think the last time like that I may have talked about this was in the video that I did that was like my studio tour, and I think during it I said, we're not going to go down there because it's my fabric vault. And I think in the, I made the promise in that video that like I'm going to clean this up. Well, let me tell you the truth, I have not. And it's probably even worse since then, because y'all know I like a good thrift haul, and I kind of like have 3 places fabrics end up. 1 is they get used right away. 2, they go into like this bin of, I have a wooden box of fabric and lace scraps I keep on the floor beside my desk. It's right beside my paper cabinet. And it's where I grab fabric from, on the daily when I'm working. And then 3 is like, we have no plan for you. And it goes into my fabric nook, which is like, I have in my studio, we have a furnace room, and then outside the furnace room there's like a closet, and then there's this little nook of space. And down there I've got these 2 lovely cabinets.
Here's your reminder. Swim and skate program.
Oops, I'm getting a reminder from Amazon or something, or from my Google Calendar to book a class for tomorrow. So anyways, I have this whole space that has these 2 IKEA cabinets, and they also have I've got like a wood shelf, and it's entirely full of fabric. Then I had this big basket of fabric, and then I started putting some of my fiber stuff over there too. So like it's just kind of a calamity, and there's fabric that's like in baskets that are like, nothing's on the floor, but like that will happen soon if I don't go through it. So that's one of my things that I think I'm going to try to get to in my spring cleaning, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so we've done the pockets. I've got a whole stack going on here. Wow. Okay, so what's left of the Tuesday 10 stuff? Because this isn't Tuesday 10. Okay, nothing is. So I need to do stitching, guys. I'm doing all that yapping away. Oh, no, there is. There's these. Let's do these first. Then we'll stitch and be on with life. Okay. So we have these 4. We're going to do 4 things. Where did I put? I have this piece of fabric that I dyed. It's super bright. It's right here. Okay. See that? Okay. So what I want to do, I think, is I want to use 1 piece of it with each of these. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I need to clean this one up a little. It's got a weird spot there. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we need paper scrap. So I need my chopper. We're going to cut little bits of, actually I don't probably need to use my chopper. I'll just use my scissors. One, 2, 3, and 4. I don't want to make these enormous. I just want to make them like a little piece. Okay, good. All right, now I think what I want to do with them is, I thought I was going to stitch, but I'm actually not. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's pick up this whole thing here, lay that down, punch a hole, and we're going to put an eyelet in there. Okay, 1, 2, sort of like a cute little greeting made from scraps. Okay. Husband is upstairs on the top floor of the house folding laundry. And the kids are playing a game on the main floor, and he's kind of like in the stairwell. So if you hear him shouting to them, he's telling them not to kick the ball around the dog's ball because the dog will go cuckoo bananas and somebody will get a bruise. So if you're wondering what the shouting and the noise is, that's what's going on. Because when you have kids, you just have like endless amounts of laundry. Holy. I went from when the kids were really little, I was so, romantically enthralled with like, oh, their beautiful little kid clothes are so sweet. I love this. I love doing their little laundry and putting it in their drawers. And now I'm just like, have mercy on my soul. Why is there so much laundry? It's just craziness. And they're in school now, so it's like even more so somehow, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's not. I'm probably exaggerating, but it's just a lot of laundry. Where do we want this to go? Right like that? Maybe there. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Can we get down there? What's blocking me? Something. I think this is too high. Let's do something different. Going to fussy cut this a little differently so we can change the shape of it a bit. That's better. So it's just like 2 holding hands now. And we'll cut the white out because that will look weird. Got my daughter signed up for some fun camps this summer too. Managed to get that done. There's just no end of like parental administration. Ugh. And I have one more thing to get her signed up for, and it's the hard one that takes like forever to sign up. Something is blocking me. What is going on? Oh, what? Hold on. Is this thing in the wrong place? Does this go back? Hold on. I need to loosen this. 1 second. And that comes down and pushes back. Okay. I think I fixed it. There. I don't know what happened. Okay, now press in there. There we go. Okay. Now let's get rid of these scraps and all the things. Whew. All right, we're done, I think, guys. Okay, so there's those booklets done. I'm going to do my stitching. I'll come back, clean up, and show you everything we made. All right, we made 22 pieces of ephemera today. That might be like potentially a new record. I don't know. I don't keep track. Let's take a quick look. So these 4 eyeleted greeting card little notebooks with the fabric. Then the 3 tags of the colliding phone conversations. I stitched around those and I added some of this wiggly cardboard at the top and kind of played with my stitching. You know what I was thinking would be a really cool material for playing in junk journals? Old telephone cords. Like I've got this cord, hold on my mic like this. You see that? Wouldn't that be kind of something cool we could play with someday? So 3 of those. That little oddball card there. This, I stitched around it. Then our little girl who's not actually spinning, who looks like she's spinning, I put some wool locks up top with some thread. Then this one I stitched around, added that yellow to the top. There's that little flamingo cluster. And then those 2 journal cards. And all these little pockets. All these fun little moon pockets. They turned out really cute. I just did some stitching on them. I'm super happy with how they turned out. Yeah, so that was a pretty good day, I think, of Tuesday 10 stuff. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I will be back hopefully next week with another Tuesday 10. So until next time, have a great day and thanks for hanging out with me. Bye for now.